Hello and welcome to Back to Basics with Sandra and Lyndall. Today we are discussing the mid-size movement. What is mid-size? So Sandra, this was a topic that you sent to me initially and I'd actually truthfully never even heard of. And the more I researched it, the more I was honestly like, why the fuck do we need these labels? So like, I guess what's your opinion on mid-size?
I've just seen it come like alive, I guess, through TikTok mostly. So people are doing like these fashion try-ons and like the active wear, or they're doing a Shein overhaul, or like Target's got mid-size fashion now. And so everyone's fit themselves into this category. But like you said, when you were researching it yesterday, there's no size, there's like a massive size range of what mid-size is now. So I guess like in general, it would be like a 6 to 10 is like the normal range. And then you've got the mid-size range, which is like anywhere from a 10 to 12 to a 16 maybe. Yeah. And then 16 above is plus size. But like we said, why do you have to label that in between place?
Yeah, like, I mean, I would consider both of us to be mid-size if we're going to put a label on it. Like 100%. I'm a size 12. I think you're kind of the same.
Yeah.
And yeah, the more I researched it, it was really kind of about allowing people that are of that kind of normal size. Because I would say like a size 10 to 12 is
pretty average.
It's a normal size. It's, normal woman. I would look at someone that is mid-size and say that they're a healthy woman.
Yes.
I would, you know. Obviously, we don't know what's like going on inside and all of that sort of stuff. But I would look at them and generally say they're a healthy person. But I think it's really a label that allows those people to be seen. But I don't really know why they feel the need to put a spotlight on something that's normal, something that I look at to be normal. You know what I mean? Because I think there's always been labels, right? You know, we've had that kind of the heroin chic of the 90s, which we are seeing coming back, which is frustrating. Now we've got this mid-size and then we've also got this, you know, the whole body positivity plus size movement, which, you know, really has come about in the last kind of 10 years as well. I know we are kind of going to discuss that a little bit later, but I don't really understand the need to have all of these labels to allow people of different sizes and different shapes to be seen.
I think it's just social media, and everyone wants to have a social media, be a social media influencer, get paid for doing it. So I think that creating that little space for them to now shine, because they couldn't fit into the skinny girls and the heroin chic, and then they couldn't fit into that plus size range, because the plus size thing, that's a massive movement. Like that's a huge area of clothing, of body positivity, of people coming now into fruition on social media. Being a plus size model is a massive thing. And then there's those in between people, they're like, where do I go?
Yeah.
And now they're like, okay, let's be mid-size.
But I think the issue that can arise as well is the whole need for people to feel like their body has to be a trend.
And fit into something.
And fit into that trend. And I think, like, I always love to use the Kardashians as an example of this, because we've seen such a flux with their life and their image and how they've looked. You know, they got the BBLs, they got the lipo, they kind of had that really, you know, shapely hourglass figure. And now they've kind of gone the other way, and they've kind of removed a lot of those procedures, and they've really slimmed down and they are going for that more slimmer image. And I can't help but notice the people that try and replicate that. And you kind of have to think, like, is that a healthy like thing to have? Are these kind of healthy role models to have? And should we be looking at these people and trying to emulate their body shape?
No, because our bodies shouldn't have to move because another person's body moves in that certain way. You know what I mean? Like, we're built as we are. We're all uniquely, completely different. You know, our body makeup, even internally, is so different. Like, how can you keep transforming yourself to fit what's happening in society? Like, that would be exhausting. And you're right, there are people that do it, and you see it on their socials, and you see, you know, when you see them posting things and you're like, oh, you're changing again. Like, that would be tiring. Like, for me to even go into that heroin chic phase, if I was one of those people that wanted to be fluid, it would not happen. I would look sick. You know, I would look sick. But I think like people just find that they need to relate, and it's all about maybe that community aspect, maybe a little bit, that they want to fit into something and be part of something, and they want to fit. Like, if you're plus size, I'm okay. They wouldn't be okay with being plus size because they're a little bit bigger. If you're that heroin chic look, they want to have that little gaunt look because they're other people that they hang around are the same. And then now if you're mid-size, like, you know, I don't find that it's a thing that I appeal to, like mid-size fashion.
I think it's about making a statement though. You know, I think it's, you know, aligning yourself to a certain trends in fashion as well, and really putting it out there on social media. And I think that there lies a little bit of a danger as well, because, I mean, I don't know about you, but my experience with, you know, watching these transitions of body shapes and trends is, you know, like as a millennial, like I remember we came from a time where there were so many people that were fat phobic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's really where a lot of, I guess, my eating issues originally came from, is this need to look a certain way because that heroin chic image was in the 90s, the early 2000s, and that's really what we were all trying to emulate, because that was fashionable. It was what was on the runways, and it was also what was largely represented in all of the magazines that we were looking
at.
And
the clothing
the
stores.
Dollies, the Cleos, you know, you'd shop at Valley Girl, Supre, all of that sort of stuff.
Do you remember that lockout?
Yeah, it was like
it was
low cut jeans, it was like midriff tops, it was all of these things that, you know, we were looking at and watching happening in the social media and in magazines and stuff like that. And that's what we wanted to be, you know, because that was the only thing that we really saw representation of. So for me, this kind of constant flux of body shape change it's hard to watch, especially now moving into being an actual fitness coach and coaching women through this. You know, we've all got some sort of trauma or, you know, mental instability that revolves around, I guess,
what you look like
and how you come across aesthetically. And, you know, I think it's hard as a coach as well to kind of, you know, help these people, help our clients and make sure that they're healthy at the same time.
It's funny you say that, because we just finished one of our programs, and one of the clients that went through, I gave her recommended calorie intake and everything, and it was probably about like 1,500 calories, and she ate well under 1,000, right? Well under 1,000, no matter how much I tried to coach her. How much I tried to coach her, everything. She was like, no, I'm losing weight and I'm going back to being skinny, how she was pre-babies and stuff. So I was like, I can't help you if you don't want to be helped. Well, there's no point in you signing up to this program if you're just going to eat whatever you want to eat, which was really, really low. But she ended up getting really skinny, and she's like, I'm skinny fat now, but I'm okay with that because I look semi-okay in photos. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't get through a workout, like a 45.
But how do you feel?
Yeah.
Like, do you feel good?
Energy-wise, like if you see her in a workout, she's actually depleted quite quickly. And I know the reason, but I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to do? Go get a mindset coach. But, you know, like it's they want to fit into what's trending, and what's trending is that Kim Kardashian slim, bony, gaunt.
But they go back to what they know as well. Like, you know, like I remember when I first started dieting, because you read about it in the Cleo magazines and the Dolly magazines, it was all about, you know, doing those fat busting workouts, and it was all about, you know, consuming really low calories. So anyone that has done that previously, before we kind of moved into the body positivity movement, and now we're going backwards, they're trying to replicate that again because they haven't actually educated themselves on what is healthy, what is a healthy amount of calories to consume, you know, how we should be training for health. And, you know, you kind of have to ask these people, you might look okay, but how do you feel? Like, do you have energy? Like, do you actually look at a photo of yourself and feel comfortable and confident? Because I'm telling you right now, the Kardashians might look great, but they Photoshop the shit out of their photos. How confident do they actually feel with how they look? Because I would say not really. I mean, don't get me wrong. We can't compare ourselves to these type of celebrities. Yeah. They've got the spotlight on us all the time, and they're constantly ripped apart for how they look. Yeah. You know, and I think for a lot of us, we place that pressure on ourselves, you know. We think that we need to look a certain way. We think that we need to do a certain thing to fit in with society's kind of view of how a woman should look and what they should do and the life that they should lead. And I think that we put that pressure on ourselves. What do you think?
And then we feed into them as well, and we give them that spotlight. So the more that we replicate what they look like, the more it gives them, you know, that fuel to keep going, and because they know they can get away with it. Yeah. There's a really famous TikTok star. She's not famous, but she's known for her scandals and everything on TikTok. And I said this to you, that she posted the other day that people were saying to her, you're a mom, you shouldn't be looking like that, because she actually got tummy tuck surgery, so she got really skinny and she's turned into like that Kim Kardashian. A couple months ago, she had the big hourglass figure. She was really curvy. She looked quite, nice. And people were saying to her, you're too fat, or you've got rolls when you're on TikTok and blah, blah, blah. And then she had an outburst and she said, you come at me when I've got rolls. You come at me when my bones are showing. What the fuck do you want me to do?
But it's about how you react to it. Like, she's being reactive in regards to what people say about her online. But I strongly believe that if you put things online, you open yourself up. Yeah, you open yourself up for these comments. So you have to have the confidence in yourself to be okay with that.
Yeah, but she doesn't.
The amount of shit, and the amount of shit that I've copped, and I'm like not an influencer or anything by far, but even just the amount of shit that I've copped on my social media, but I don't care either, because, a lot of the time you go to these profiles, they're on private, or it's some middle-aged overweight man sitting behind a keyboard. Or even half the time as well, it's another woman.
Yeah,
which is the sad thing.
That's the worst.
It's the sad thing, another woman like tearing down another woman. I really, really hate that. It really frustrates me. But it happens all the time. Like, I have never, not once, ever felt the need to comment negatively on somebody else's social media or their posts. Even if I don't agree with it, even if I don't like it, you know what? Fucking scroll past it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no need for that hate, because I'm a strong person. I can handle it, no problem.
Yeah.
But some people aren't.
Yeah.
And some people feel validation from the comments that they receive online, and online bullying is a thing. And I think a lot of it comes from, body image and how you look and how you represent yourself online as well.
Yeah. There's also the rise of like the dad bod. But like, because we say that it happens a lot to women, but then it also happens a lot to men as well. And I think like even with our chats with our previous guest Tyson, is there's a lot of men out there that actually go through like eating disorders and stuff, because there is so much pressure to fit into like what Chris Hemsworth looks like, or who's that guy that was the chubbier guy and he was in Superbad?
Yes.
Yeah, like,
I know who you're talking about.
But then like when he comes out and he's like comfortable and he looks good in like being a little bit chubby, then, they've got stores now like Johnny Big and the Lowe's Big Size and stuff. So like men can now fit into that category. So it's happening in the male industry now a lot more than we've seen in the past.
But I think the thing that frustrates me is, and especially more so centered around fitness influencers, is when they try and make themselves
look like that,
fit into a certain label.
Yeah.
Like they'll take a video or a photo of themselves where they're like sticking their stomach out as far as they can. And then an after photo where they're flexed and they're tight and they're taut and they're taking, a photo or a video from the most perfect angle.
Yeah.
And I understand what they're trying to do. Like, I understand that they are trying to promote body positivity, but I don't think that they're doing it the right way.
No.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. And they do I mentioned this before, where like the skinniest girls will like sit in a certain way and put their legs like flat on the side of the pool and be like, bodies like this can look like this, and they're like upsetting straight, but they're like actually skinny girls. Like, you're not nowhere near mid-size or plus size, but you're trying to be so that you remain relevant in this like rise of mid-size or whatever. And a lot of people, commenting on like, or making videos about plus size or mid-size, like just to stay relevant. We shared something the other day about a male influencer commenting on being plus size and, how that it's unhealthy and we're glorifying being overweight. But no, like actually we're glorifying being happy in your body, happy in your skin, positive mindset, all that sort of thing. So, and it was interesting reading the comments, because you'd had very much 50-50 people saying, it's a representation of how far women have come in like being confident in their own skin and being, able to wear whatever the fuck they want without worrying about what other people are going to say. And other people saying, you're glorifying fat people.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely two sides of the story with that, because I think for a lot of people, some people are actually glorifying being unhealthy, and I choose to say unhealthy rather than overweight or obese, even though sometimes that is a byproduct of being unhealthy. But I think for some people, the whole body positivity movement has kind of given them a little bit of leverage to say, okay, well, my size is actually now represented and accepted. Therefore, I'm going to continue being unhealthy, right? And I think that's not a great way to look at things as well. And at the same time, like, what is healthy? You know, because as we know, and we've discussed before, like, weight doesn't equal health, you know? And I think things like BMI and that sort of old way of looking at things is no longer right. Because if you were to take my BMI, I'm considered obese.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I go to the gym 5 days a week. I eat 80% of the time really well. You know, I would consider myself healthy.
Yeah.
Am I in the correct BMI for what is considered healthy? Absolutely not. But for some of these people that are plus size, they are actually extremely obese and they are unhealthy, and they're actually putting their health at risk. And they're okay with it because all of a sudden they're represented in the media and on social media as, you know, plus size. It's about body positivity and all of these things. And that's great. You know, I'm not discounting that at all, but are they actually healthy?
And how would you know that? How would you know if anyone's healthy? You could be the skinniest, you know, person on social media, but are you mentally healthy? Are you, you know, having your fruit and vegetables? Are you getting all your minerals, your nutrients, all that sort of thing as well? So it's the other side as well. You could be plus size and unhealthy, and you could be skinny and super unhealthy as well. So I guess, like, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, really, because, and, you know, when you're looking to go into fitness coaching or going to work with someone, don't go and work with them just because of what they look like, because they might actually be like talking from a place of, you know, really bad body image, or they might be struggling with an eating disorder. So you just never know. So never judge by what someone looks like. Do your research, look at their qualifications, look at their life experience. What have they been through? And then make a decision as to whether they're the right person.
And I think sometimes the hard thing as well is, especially when it comes to clothes shopping, you know, you could be a size 10 in some stores, and you could be a size 14 or 16 in another store. And then you're like, well, where do I fit in? And I know even for myself and I would confidently say that I'm a pretty confident person, but I've got big legs. Like I train, I've got big legs. So for me, it's really hit or miss as to whether pants or jeans or things like that will actually fit my legs. If I try in a size 12 and it doesn't fit, I am not putting on a size 14. Okay. I'm not putting on a size 14, not because I'm like embarrassed about it or anything like that, but I'm like, oh, it's just all too hard. And I know if I put on that size 14, it'll fit my legs, but it won't fit my waist. Yeah. You know, so I know I'm just wasting my time. But at the same time, I know I'm not a size 14, you know, but I think for some people, you know, they kind of take that number and they run with it, and they're like, oh my God, like I'm a size 14 or a 16 or whatever I am. I'm a plus size. Like, is that unhealthy? Yeah,
it's very dangerous. And like, it's funny you say that, like, you won't try on the 14, but me, I'm very happy to like go like try on the 14, because then in some stores I'm a size 10. I can wear a size 10 top or a size 8 top and be like a 14 bottom.
Yeah.
So clothes are just absolutely insane. And I think that that's why it's so dangerous. Like, I always say to people, don't look at the size on the tag. Like, don't. And what's good now is there's been this rise of like, they put the size charts on online shopping. So I always go off the size chart. I mean, it's not always right, but it does help a lot. And I think on the Iconic was one of the first sites where I saw it, where they actually, you can choose your body shape. Like, are you wider? Are you average? Are you more frumpier? Are you this? Are you that? And then they give you a size recommendation, which is really good. So that's a good like movement, you know, to see that clothes websites are now offering that service where you can pick and choose without anyone judging you. Yeah. And I also think that it's really important that people at the clothes shops are a bit more educated about how that one little comment that you make may affect someone's experience that they're having in your store and in that change room, because that could sit with them for a very long time.
Yeah, I remember I tried on a pair of jeans at a store and they honestly didn't fit my legs. Like I said, jeans are hit or miss if they're not stretchy. And I actually did try in a size 14 because I really like these jeans, and even the size 14 just wouldn't even fit my legs. And I was just like, too hard basket. And I came out of the change room and the lady was like, how'd you go? And I said, oh, look, yeah, they don't fit my legs. And this was coming from someone that was probably a size 16 to 18. No judgment here, but yeah, I said, oh, they don't fit my legs. I train a lot, and yeah, sometimes I really struggle to fit into pants. And she said, oh, well, you should stop training then. And I was
solved my problem.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like her reaction to that comment. I was like, probably not the best way to try and make me buy clothes. And, again, I kind of just like brushed it off, and, those sort of comments don't really bother me. But I was like, you don't really look healthy yourself.
Yeah.
And you're trying to give me comments.
Yeah.
You're trying to give me advice on how I should, run my life.
Who would tell you to stop training? It's, what, that happened to me when I was getting married. So I went and tried on my wedding dress, and if I show you photos, you'll freak out because I was like gaunt. Like I had
I've seen a video.
Chest bones, and I was really, really skinny. And then I tried on my dress, and I was like, yep, that's the dress. And the lady's like, all right, come back in 9 months. I was like, okay, no worries. So I started training in that 9 months because I wanted to get like, muscles and be a bit more toned. And then I came back and I went to my first dress fitting, and it didn't fit. Like on my legs, it was like stretched. She's like, what have you been doing? And I was like, squats. And she's like, how are you going to undo all that work in like 2 weeks? Like, you need to fit into this dress. And I was like, fuck, like, what am I going to do? Like, I felt amazing. I felt strong. I was, doing so well. And then I went to try on a wedding dress, and it was too tight around my legs, and I'm like, shit. So I ended up doing like some quick detox or whatever, and then put the dress back on, and obviously it fit. But it was just like, it's hard as a woman because clothes aren't built for people that train and really put effort into their like growing muscles and things. And like there are, Fit Jeans and what is that brand? Freddie.
Yeah.
Really like but they're expensive as well. So you can't always afford that. And there's this, it's kind of like, I have this feeling sometimes like, should I really train and be like thick? Thick? Or should I just go back to being like that really skinny, where you could just go into a store and pick up whatever and walk out, It's such a hard thing being a woman, like, to be honest.
It really is. But it really just goes to show how like even the most confident person can be affected by trends as well. Like, I've had the same sort of thing happen to me. Like if I train a lot of upper body, my shoulders and my back.
Oh my God, what's the back
and
thing?
then I can't fit into any jackets or zip up dresses or anything like that. And it's really frustrating. And I see it as frustration more from the perspective of, oh my God, I've got all these clothes and now all of a sudden they don't fit.
Yeah.
And that's where my frustration comes from, because it's just wasted money that I can no longer use,
100%,
right?
Yeah.
But it goes to show that even the most confident person can be affected by trend or change in body image. But also, again, like we're to some degree trying to emulate people that we see, celebrities, social media influencers, like, Kim Kardashian trying to fit into that dress for the Met Gala was a great one. Yeah. Beyonce on her detox diet for Coachella was another one, where they lost mass amounts of weight in rapid time. Yeah. But then they get on stage or on the red carpet and they look beautiful. Like they look stunning. And we want to look like that. But they've lost, 10 pounds or however much they've lost in 5 days or 7 days or something crazy.
But that's what they do. That's their full-time job. They can spend that much time. They can lie in bed not eating anything and be like,
that's the thing. They can train for 2 hours. They can have chefs prep every meal down to the calorie. I read something the other day that the Kardashians are actually taking some sort of appetite suppressant as well, and that's the new thing. And some people say that they've got a gastric sleeve, and all of these sorts of things that are just not relatable, and they're not realistic for the average person either. But we look at these people and think it's Bible. Like people that think most celebrities look natural, like just is beyond me. And I think that's kind of leads us into the next topic of surgery. Like, is it the new transformation?
There's so many people doing it, right? There's so many people just going to get the BBLs or the butt lift or what's the other thing, the tummy tucks and the boob jobs. Like, there's so many different things. They even get their jawline chiseled a little bit more, or but it is, and I think that people have just lost the ability to go the old school way, which is diet and exercise.
But that's hard.
It's harder, right? But they'd rather pay the loan off for another 10 years because the results are instant. And I think like that you need to really think about, have surgery, do whatever makes you happy. You do you, right? Always. But think about the long-term effects, because those things aren't forever. Those things can be undone, as well as diet and exercise. We know that, but you have more control over that, you know, whereas if you get surgery, you don't know what's going to happen when you walk out of that operating table.
Yeah.
And the long-term care that you have to take for yourself after that's happened.
Like, I mean, I agree with you in terms of, you know, you do you, whatever you want to do to yourself, go for it. Like, whatever makes you happy. You know, if that involves filler or Botox, go for it. If that actually involves going under the knife, go for it. You honestly do you. Like, life is too short to be unhappy about something. And if you feel that diet and exercise is not going to be enough for you, you go for it. You know, but you have to be prepared and do your research in regards to the repercussions of that, because not all doctors are the same. And, you know, you need to be prepared for the aftercare and all of the things that you have to do to make sure that it is a successful surgery as well. But people do want that quick fix. And for some people, surgery is a quick fix. And for some people, they've tried the diet and exercise. Maybe they've lost a whole bunch of weight and now they're removing the skin, or maybe they do actually have to really go for that gastric sleeve. Or maybe diet and exercise is not enough to create that, you know, hourglass shape that they really want, that they don't genetically have. That is cool. You do you. But you need to be aware that if you are following these sorts of people online, that is a possibility, you know, because honestly, I would say even for myself, it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I really became aware of the whole liposuction, BBL, like that sort of like fat transfer, like changing
it's
of
blown
shape.
up though.
And that's fine. Like, that's absolutely fine. But, you know, like I said, it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I became aware of that. And now I can look at somebody and be like, I think she has something done.
How many popular influencers have actually had surgery to achieve their butts?
And again, that's fine, but I think it's about being aware that sometimes the people that we follow are truthful in regards to how they look. And some people, you know, might look a certain way based on having surgery, based on taking steroids, based on taking, you know, diet medications or whatever they do. And they're saying, buy my program if you want to look like me.
I know, and it's not real.
So I think it's also about having that conversation with yourself about whether this is actually real life or whether I'm following and trying to emulate someone that's maybe had something else done, you know?
There was a popular influencer, I'm not going to say her name, but she had surgery. So she had her BBL done. So she's got a massive butt and she always has scrunch buns on, right? And I think the surgeon that did her procedure posted the before and after of her on his page, and I think she sued him for putting it up there because it now discounted all her training programs, all her social media, because he actually was putting it out there that this is not real. Like, she hasn't worked for it. It's come from surgery. So that's really funny.
But do you feel like sometimes when people go to, you know, doctors or GPs for like diet and exercise advice, that sometimes because a lot of doctors and GPs don't really have the knowledge in regards to that sort of area, like the training that they receive on diet and nutrition, exercise is quite small in the scheme of things. I think a lot of the time they kind of just recommend these procedures or, you know, Duromine or these other medications because that's like the easiest route to take because they don't really know enough about those other areas. What do you think about that?
Yeah, a lot of clients that have worked with me have said that one actually just went through it now because she was going overseas and they gave her Duromine. I think it's because they're uneducated in that space. I wish that a lot more of them did more training and studies, because obesity is a real thing and it affects so many other areas of your life. People can't fall pregnant, low sex drive, all that sort of thing. They can't just be active. They can't, you know, run with their kids in the park or whatever. So it is a thing that they need to not use medicine to try and fix.
Yeah.
They need to look at the alternate ways to provide a solution that's long term. So that,
and also outsource as well. I think, you know, when someone is overweight or obese, it's not just that most of the time, it's not just because they're just consuming too many calories and like there's nothing else going on. You know, there's generally something else going on that is kind of the starting point as to why they are the way that they are.
Yeah.
So do we need to outsource and get this person a therapist? Do they need a mindset coach? Do they need a personal trainer? Do they need someone else to help them with their goals that isn't just advice around diet and nutrition, possibly here, take some medication?
Yeah, because if you go to them and you've got an injury, they're quick to refer you to a physio, or you know,
stop doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Oh, when I had a knee injury, the doctor was like, you need to stop squatting, or you're not going to be able to walk in the next 10 years.
But that's a lot of the advice that you're doing. Oh, well, you're overweight because you're eating too much. Stop eating too much.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not
cool.
just that. It's not that easy. Like if you've been overweight for 10 or 20 years, there's obviously something else. Yeah. You can't just flick a switch.
Drink green tea.
Yeah. Drink your greens.
Yeah. So I think that when people say that my GP said, as I've said in other discussions we've had, don't just go off what your GP said. Like, do your research, see if there's something else that you can be doing, and ask your GP, put them on the spot and say, no, I don't want to take medicine. I don't want to take Uramine. I don't want to do this. What else can I do, doctor? And it's like most of the time they'll probably get stumped. So I think because PTs as well and coaches, we're not on like a referral list as well, because you can't claim that stuff through health insurance. So they don't refer you, but it would be good to have a network of trainers that they could refer to and say, you know, go and see this person, go on a 12-week program.
Yeah, because there's so many people out there and you just don't really know who to go to or what to turn to and what you really need.
And you go off advice of your friends because something worked for them, it's got to work for you. Like if you go on TikTok now and you try type in Duramind before and after, it's a massive thing. Come with me on my Duramind journey. Week 1 on Duramind, week 2, and you can see them doing the whole like turning around and showing them like what's the thing. And then if you read the comments, some people are like, nah, it's the worst thing. You're going to go back to how you were once you stop taking it. Some people can't sleep. There's long-term side effects. So social media is dangerous. And I've said it before, like you need to make sure that you're consuming both the positive stuff that's good for your soul and then the stuff like don't compare your journey to someone else's.
I think we all do that though. You know, we compare our journey to others and, you know, like I said before, we try and emulate them as well. And I think, you know, when we start that journey of change and, you know, wanting to, I guess, lose weight, you know, it's very hard to not get caught up in what the scale says or, you know, what I look like in my transformation photos and my measurements and all of that sort of stuff. And I know that I did this as well. Like I would jump on the scale and whatever that number said would honestly kind of equal what I would feel like for that day. You know, like if I didn't change or if I, you know, actually went up, like I would be so upset. And I would be like, what did I do wrong? What more can I do to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us do that. Like, you know, we honestly do still believe that weight equals health, you know, and it honestly doesn't.
No. There's so much other stuff going on, and mental health is a massive thing as well. And there's such a big correlation between physical health and mental health. And I think that, you need to really, really look at health as a big thing, not just what a number says on the scale. Yeah, definitely.
So I guess like to summarize, like what is your honest opinion in regards to all of these different labels and in particular the mid-size movement?
Don't try and fit into a label. Like even when we were growing up, you either had a pear-shaped body or an apple-shaped body, or you were a rectangle, and you had to fit into one of those. Like, I mean, I do it too. Like, you know, am I an hourglass, you know, or am I this or am I that? But I think just learn to be okay with what you are at the moment and don't try and fit into a category just because, you know, your favorite celebrity is or the influencers are trending on that type of body shape at the moment. Just like be happy with who you are, wear clothes that fit your body. Don't try and fit into a particular size just because it's the size, you know. And just be comfortable.
Be okay with taking up space.
Yeah,
you know,
yes,
like,
I love that.
Everyone is worthy. Everyone is worthy, and your size or your shape or your weight doesn't mean anything in regards to that. Like, take up space, be worthy. Like, everyone, regardless of their size or their shape, is beautiful in some.
And wear what you want. Yeah. Wear it. Wear the
Wear
outfit.
that bikini.
Yeah.
Wear that midriff. Wear those shorts.
100%.
You do you, boo.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you liked today's episode, we'd love to hear about it below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments on the topic of the mid-size movement as well. And as always, if you enjoyed today's topic, please tag us on your socials. We'd love to see. Until next time.